And I caught this after I had all copies and everything out.
Yeah.
So
We call this meeting to order, please?
We got, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cut paste kind of thing.
Please
Yeah, I was
stand,
reading through
and
it.
before we do the pledge, we just want to have a moment again of silence for the people in Ukraine. You might notice the shirts that Chuck and I are wearing. We purchased those at the fundraiser that our two councilmen, Luke and Joe, were part of a team that ran this fundraiser. And I personally want to thank them for that. Raised a lot of money for the people in Ukraine, and thank you. But we thought it was important to wear them and show that unity. So let's have a moment of silence for those people. Okay, we'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome to our work session tonight, Monday, April 11th, 2022. And we're going to start this out with our baseball agreement. See, Amy's here tonight. And Amy and myself have been working on this for the last week or so. And we got Jeff and Bridget involved, and we worked out this agreement. That's been about 3 years we've been working this, Amy.
Something like that.
So unfortunately, I have the only copy of this.
Okay.
You have a copy.
Yes.
But Martha was not able to get back to get copies. So I'm just going to read off some of the changes.
Okay.
And then hopefully we can put it on the agenda to vote. Is that good with everyone? Luke, you good? Okay. So there were some minor changes in the addresses that we talked about before, 690 South instead of 736 Warren Drive. We got into the furthermore, the town shall maintain the fences and backstops. And then it says at Glade Avenue Diamonds and Community Pool Diamonds at the all three locations. Mow the infield and outfield at Glade Avenue Diamonds and Community Pool Park, not all three diamonds. And clean the restrooms at each location. Let's see. The indemnification just had some changes where it says East Aurora Baseball and Softball shall indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the town of Aurora, its officials and employees from any and all claims, causes, and action, losses, expenses, injuries, or damages arising from. And then we added baseball, softball activities, but only to the extent that such claims result directly or indirectly from the acts, errors, or omissions of East Aurora baseball and softball. Everyone good with that? Okay. And we went to, I think I skipped the.
I think just in the recitals, Jim, on the first page, there were a few changes, minor.
What was that?
I think just in the recitals, unless I missed it, that was the other change you were looking for.
We were looking at the maintenance fee.
Yeah,
I
I don't know. Maybe I missed it. I wasn't, but.
Oh, here it is. I'm sorry.
I thought
It
you
was
were-
right under, it was right under the next one.
Yeah.
And that's the current. What page are you on, Luke? For the maintenance. Oh, here it is. Page 6 under number 16. Payment. Baseball, softball agrees to pay the town $1,000 annually during the time of this agreement, and the effect that is, and for baseball, softball's contribution to the cost, including maintenance, upkeep, equipment purchases, and improvements to the ball diamonds and fields in any other areas utilized by the baseball, softball as determined by the town. In addition, baseball, softball shall make a good faith contribution to the town of the cost of baseball and softball diamond dirt to the extent funds are available to their budget. So what we did was, before it was, they were going to give us $2,500 in diamond dirt, and they couldn't afford it anymore. Well, we wanted to get a maintenance cost in there. So we just took $1,000 off that diamond dirt, said, give us $1,000 each year for maintenance. Whatever you guys feel is good in your budget to give towards the diamond dirt will be your addition.
Yep.
So
You understand?
it just makes it equal for all the different entities that we're involved with. And that is, I think, all the changes. Did I miss something, Mimi?
No, I think that was it.
Okay. Besides that, it says on the top of your page, May of 2021. We want to get rid of that because that's probably when we started this, maybe even
I
earlier.
think so. I think
We'll just date it when we, we'll just date it either April or May of 2022. At the start of this contract. So do I have any comments from anybody, or are we good to put this on the agenda and get it off our plate?
No, thank you, Jim, and appreciate that.
Good.
And you're all comfortable with the bathroom? We sat down and made sure that everybody understood their rights and
we have talked
responsibilities.
about everything in this agreement. We are all super clear. I've reviewed this with the entire East Aurora baseball and softball board. And everybody is very grateful for all the time you've given us and are happy with this and ready to move forward and get on to other things.
And a lot of other good things are going to happen in the next year or so. So it's going to be a great park down there for you.
We're
So-
going to keep on going.
Yeah,
So
good.
whatever comes our way, we'll be ready.
Well, thank you for working with me on it this last week. That
It was
was
a pleasure,
very
as
nice to get
always.
it done.
It was great. Thank
Okay.
you so much for being so supportive of our league. We really,
Okay.
really appreciate it.
And we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Have a great night.
Thank you. All right, next we'll go to the special use permit in 426 Olean. How you doing, guys? Good. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you guys take the run with it. You have something to show us, or?
Yes, so,
If you guys can just talk into the microphone, so we, because it's on the recording, yeah. You can pull it out if you want to, if it's
Yeah,
easier. Yeah.
that can go higher, or you can pull it right out and hold it.
we met with the planning board last week and they approved this addition to our property at 426 Olean's, East Aurora self-storage. So these are all storage buildings, and this is the building we're talking about here. So the major concern was the drainage. At the northwest end of the property. So we rectified that with what's her name again?
Liz.
With Liz. And we came up with a plan that we're just going to do our own French drain right here in the property. So with the planning board, that was their only concern, and we rectified that. So I think that's the long and the short of it.
And I think you were gonna run the roof runoff into the storm sewer. Is that right, Liz?
Well, I met with Josh, and these are the two other Best brothers. I met with Josh Best this afternoon and we walked the property just because to see everything. And the catch basin that the planning board was talking about is actually within the state right of way. So in order, and it's in their driveway, but it's the state right of way. So instead of trying to connect into that storm drain, I don't know where it goes. And they would have to get permission from the state to do that. Josh and I discussed the potential to put in a French drain in front of the building, just to, while they're excavating for the foundation, dig a trench, fill it with stone. Have the downspouts from that building be directed to that French drain, and then additional landscaping between that area and the fence. So it'll all be within their property, and then they still have some grass space between the fence and the right of way that any overspill should stay on that property.
Okay. Is that blacktop surrounding that, Liz, or is that, what is that? That dark, that shaded area? I see that, yeah, that right there.
This is blacktop. Yes, sir.
That is blacktop.
Yeah, so they're gonna have it's existing.
Oh, that is
It
existing.
is all existing. They're not making
Okay.
any additional changes to infrastructure in that respect. The building is going to be flush with the driveway on the entry, and it'll be just off it in the back. There'll be a garage door on the south side. Yes, the south.
The west is facing the street.
Okay.
Yeah, so the south side and the east side will have doors right
Okay.
off the existing pavement.
And you're comfortable that that French drain will handle that amount of runoff?
Mhm.
Okay.
There are no other gutters on any of the other buildings.
Okay.
That was my next question.
Could we have your names, guys?
I'm Larry Best Jr.
I'm Elliot Best.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay.
This was voted on by our planning board. It was recommended with the following actions of compliance with the recommended changes per GHD's comments and the application. The applicant to invest and address water pondering at the northwest corner of the property that affects the shoulder of Olean Road, which looks like he's doing. And this was unanimous by the planning.
Just one note on that. That northwest corner of that was under discussion with ponding there is all within the right of way, the state right of way. So in order for them to do anything there, they would need the approval of the DOT. They have added some stone where into a parking area in the front of their building where Shanley Collision parks a couple of cars, but this area that's low is between where they park the cars and the road. So, and all of that is within the right of way.
Is that an area that ponds generally?
It does.
Okay.
There is there's a culvert underneath the plaza, one of the plaza driveway entrances, and it is directly pointed at that low area, which then eventually feeds into the storm drain in the middle of their driveway apron.
It's almost like a retention pond.
Almost like it, yeah.
Halfway, yes.
The parking that Shanley uses, is that on your property, the 2 or 3 cars that are over there?
Yeah.
Okay, have you talked to them? Have there been any complaints, any concerns that you know of from next door?
Not that I know of, no. He rents those spaces from us and no issues with flooding from him or
Okay,
that we've even seen really, to be honest. Just a couple little puddles on the bottom, but nothing major.
and will those spots still be there for them to rent from you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
great, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Feel comfortable to put it on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Next is our bridge, New York resolution and project agreements. And one for each bridge. These are the resolutions agreeing to accepting all that money. Do you guys want me to read the whereas? Because it's quite a bit. Or now therefore be it resolved, or did you guys go over this? Are you good with it? It's just a matter of we're getting a lot of money from the state to fix the bridge.
Yeah, the jerk in me wants you to read the whole thing, but I've read it. I'm comfortable.
How about you, Luke? Okay, all right. So I think we have that. Yep, we have that under new business. Okay,
We of course need you to read it again fully in the official meeting after the work session. So it's actually twice we want you to read it.
next we have the request from Dave Gunner to purchase some diamond dirt for the baseball fields, not only for Nicely, but for community pool park too. And Dave and I had a little bit of discussion today, but maybe you want to talk about it, Dave, and see what you think.
Yeah, originally when I typed this letter, we had thought of going with 20,000 in ball diamond dirt. It was the original plan. But then since we've downsized it to going through the capital fund, I think we probably should approve for up to 10,000. And my reasoning is we need about 5 to finish the 2 JLCs softball fields that we built just to cover them. And then if you notice on the agenda, Rick Wells is donating $1,000 towards some diamond dirt to West Falls. So we're going to have to contribute it to that too. So it should be about 7,000, but they're on the side of caution. I think, up to 10. But that's my guess.
And I think we were talking about using the ARP money, right? The ARPA money?
No, I believe you wanted to use the capital fund
For the diamond dirt?
You want to do ARPA? I thought we were going to use the capital fund for the backstops and the diamond dirt. That's the last I remember, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I guess what I would be saying is we always have the option to use some of it down the road if it's not enough. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So even next year, we're still probably in pretty good shape if we needed to use some of that funding. for
Yeah.
diamond dirt.
The capital fund, when I checked, was at $28,000. We did just approve 10,000 towards the backstops at the last agenda. So we're at 18,000. So would you prefer to save that?
Well, no, I mean,
'Cause it's
I
a re-
guess I would leave it up to the board, but if we do that, that's fine, but we also have the ability to fund it even further next year with
Sure.
ARPA money if we come short. So
Yeah, I agree.
I
I
think
think
starting at 10, in my opinion, is a good idea. I'll just listen to what you guys and see what you guys.
That's
think.
fine. That's
Well,
fine
I
by
think
me.
also too, seeing that this is the Glory Day leagues are the ones that donated the money. Maybe the beer leagues, when they see this happens, may do the same thing and fundraise. So if we leave it at 10 grand, it gives us, enough to go ahead and continue with that contribution match.
And at this time, Dave, you were going 5,000 each, right? 5,000 for,
Not quite, Chuck. Like I said, but I need about 7,000, just what I see right
Okay.
now. But I think you ought to, instead of me coming back later,
okay.
I,
7 and 4 or 5.
I need 2 full truckloads for those 2 diamonds for the little kids.
Okay.
And then with the contribution of what Rick has given us tonight, a whole nother truckload in half probably. So about 7,500 is my guess, because it's about $100 a ton.
Yeah.
It's not cheap.
No.
And as you see, there's 2 suppliers. One's out of Canada. We're having trouble getting the Canadian stuff there, but it's kind of irrelevant anyway. It's the same price. So this is coming out of West Virginia. So I can't get more than 1 quote at this time. If I find Canada starts coming in, I could come back and relook at it.
So Dave, this is stuff that you put on every year, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
Well, we try.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be halfway through the season. You don't have to put more on, do you?
No.
It just goes on in the beginning.
Just routine maintenance, Luke. The West Falls leagues have barely minimal on there. Last year, the town board and Rick Wells donated then, and we did come up with enough money to do real diamond dirt for 1 of the 3. And now they're excited to see, the progress. So they would like to continue to fundraise with the board's help to keep going with them. But the diamonds in West Falls had none of what you'd call pro level diamond dirt up until last year.
Yeah.
They had homegrown.
I was thinking we should remember this from budget talks and maybe have a separate line for diamond dirt that we just then roll every year, because it comes up every year, right?
Yeah, I think the trouble with budgeting it though, we're always trying to get the leagues to try to contribute. So it's always tough to figure what are they going to actually do, so, but yeah, I agree. We do have money in our budget right now. We could probably handle $2 grand of this right out of the parks budget the way it is. If you want, we could. I'm just not sure how you want to pay for what we do need right now.
Dave, if I can jump in real quick. So do those 2 leagues, what you have a Glory Days league and a beer league, you're calling it.
Yeah.
Do those run concurrently or are they one
They-
running
the
in
same
next
time.
one? Okay.
And when I see the beer leagues, that's the women's and the men's.
Okay.
That both of those leagues have not contributed.
Yeah.
Just the Glory Days.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm thinking. We just put Little Loop or Little League through the ringer a little bit and saying they should contribute. And if we're going to make a contribution towards the adult leagues, we maybe should think about having an agreement in place with them as well. If we're going to spend money on the diamond dirt, that we should have, require some sort of contribution towards the I don't believe anybody, like Little League doesn't use those fields, right? It's just, they're the only ones using those fields.
In West Falls.
In West Falls, yeah, the ones
Yes,
at JP
yes,
Nice.
it's all adult playing.
Yeah.
Besides the Waldorf school, I'm sure they play over that too. But
Just recreational.
Nothing through us. Yes.
Yeah.
It's all adult leagues.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's just my thought. If we're.
But Joe,
Little
just so
League
you know,
field
it's
over
always the same thing. They don't have any money. It's, because we met last year, Chuck, and I think Jim, you were out there too.
Yeah.
So we've actually made progress. We're getting $1,000.
But that is the adult league, which there's lots of people who aren't residents who use that field and
Yeah,
as opposed to the pool park fields.
Yeah, I would say that majority residents use the pool park are our local kids.
Yeah.
I don't know the percentage of in our
Yeah,
beer
I don't
leagues, but
either,
it's probably not majority are in our town.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I'm saying. We should look at establishing agreements with those leagues as well. And
I don't
put some
think we have
expectations
agreements.
on
Well,
them.
we ask every year, Joe.
Right.
Yeah.
We do ask.
But I mean, we just
keep saying
codified
they want
1,000. We said it's $1,000 to play in our little
Right.
league,
I'm not sure we have an agreement with those leagues, do we?
No, we don't. We
But if
just
they're-
pay a fee per game to line them and dress them.
And they provide insurance and obviously indemnify the town, I'm presuming.
But I don't believe we have do we have a-
So Joe, the problem isn't they're okay still playing on the junk fields, but they complain constantly. So it's not like you're going to be able to.
Oh,
you
tell
don't
them we're
have-
complaining constantly that they're not contributing any money.
So it's whether you want to listen to them complain.
They've never complained to me.
No,
so.
no, they will. So, no, but we do charge them, I forget, $40 a game to do the diamonds for them. But again, when you're into baseball and you like that pro level dirt. And
Well, if we get into that, maybe Joe's got a point. Maybe we need to have.
Well, I'd say try.
Because we don't have an agreement with them that I know of. It's just
we
kind
have
of a-
no
it's kind of a
agreement
hand-
with any of
It's
them.
always
They
been kind
just-
of a handshake agreement for over the years,
They just
so-
use the fields.
If they're dirt fields, use them. Great. Now that we're putting pro level, as you said, materials on them
Yeah.
It's a big
at a
difference.
decent cost, right?
$100 a ton. It's more than blacktop.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, but I think we should at least honor what the Glory Days did do for us and get them a full load. That's kind of what we've always done. Just said, hey, if you're willing to pitch in, the town will pitch in to match. Maybe this will inspire the beer leagues to do that. That's what the hope is. And then,
You can hope in one hand.
yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay.
So are we good to put that on for 10,000 on the agenda?
I'm good with that.
Yeah. I keep looking down there for you, Luke. I misplaced you.
Are
I
we
keep looking
paying-
down there for you.
what line are we paying for? Just so it's clear on the record, ARPA or capital fund?
I would prefer capital because it is not an investment, it's something that we have to do every year. So by that logic, ARPA, we should be using for the backstops that are going to be there for forever.
That's fine.
But the backstops are being done out of capital.
Well, that would have been a better use of the ARPA, yeah, but
Okay, just
things like that, yeah.
we could change that.
The
though,
boiler.
still, too. Okay,
Yeah.
capital fund. That's what.
Capital, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you, Dave. Anything else on that? All right, next we have the code referral to the planning board. Does Luke or Chuck want to talk about that at all, or are you guys have anything to say before we put that on agenda to refer the changes you've made?
You missed
Yeah, I think, did we,
the amended work session.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did. All right, I'm ahead of myself on one.
I enjoyed the enthusiasm for the zoning changes though.
We'll put that on hold just a second.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay.
Number 5.
The copies of the code are not in here because they were so big, but you all got emailed them. The WS6, the code referral.
Yep. Yeah, we're on number 5 though, amend work session.
Yeah, I
slash
just
meeting
jumped- I
schedule.
jumped one.
Session started.
Got it.
I jumped one. So what I was going to ask the board, sorry that I went ahead one. I was going to ask the board to consider tonight is amending our code reorg from our meeting times to make it one meeting time. I think we're confusing the residents. Let's just make our meeting start at 6:30. And there's one meeting, it's the work session, and the town board meeting is immediately after the work session, whatever time that is. instead of having two work session time and a town board meeting time. And so this week it's gonna be 5 o'clock. This week's gonna be 5:30. Let's just have it 6:30 and it's in the paper. We put it on the website and there's no confusion.
I was wondering, do we a little bit earlier, 6, or is that not, because sometimes we go over pretty good. It doesn't matter, but what I think is easier for residents, I don't
If-
know.
We could, but most of the people are used to coming to a meeting at 7 o'clock, town board meeting, and
Yeah.
I don't want them to get confused. And if we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Martha, if we have a really big deal going on in the work session, we could change that time.
Yeah.
Right? And make it a special meeting earlier or something. It doesn't happen every work session. You know, we might have one a year where we have a really big subdivision coming in or something, and you might even want to do a special meeting on it because you know it's going to be a 3-hour meeting. You might even want to do a different night, but I think for the most part, we ripped through this stuff and we could do 6 o'clock, but what if we get done at 6:15, Luke?
Yeah. No, I just,
And our meeting is done by 7 o'clock and all of a sudden people are starting to come in.
yeah. And the village does start at 7 o'clock, I believe, as well. They don't have a work session before. So.
You want
I
to just
guess
do it
6
7 o'clock?
No, I think 6:30 is
I'm good
fine.
with
I'm just saying it's not too late. Doesn't
Yeah.
seem to be too late.
6:30 gets you
6:30.
out by 8:39, usually at the worst. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think having it consistent would be helpful for everybody.
Sure.
You don't always have an opportunity to look online or look at the paper and yeah, having it at 6:30 consistently unless there's something special, I agree 100%.
Joe, you good?
I also agree. I think 6:30 works. I mean, we do shoot past 7 often, but when we get in a swing, by the time, usually the meeting's the quicker part of the two
Exactly.
activities.
Work session takes up a lot of it.
Yeah, it seems like this year we've been a lot of 6:30. Last year and the year before, we were a lot of 5:30s and 6s. I don't know what we were doing differently, but
And going past 7 isn't as bad as going before 7, in my opinion. So, and a lot of times if we do a public hearing at 7 o'clock, as long as we don't do the public hearing before 7 o'clock, it doesn't matter. You can list it as 7, as if it's done at 7:30, it doesn't matter. No, you just can't do it before, so. Okay, good.
Yep.
All right, now we'll go to the code. And I'm gonna go back to you guys.
Sure.
You guys did a lot of work, you and Chuck, and Martha, and planning board and zoning boards and whoever, Liz, and so I'm gonna shovel it off to you guys and let you talk a little bit about it.
yeah. You want to go first?
Sure. Well, as you said, Jim, we've all gotten together and pretty much on a weekly basis and gone through everything in the what was the Bs and the I, which is now the C zone. You'll all see that shortly. And I really think that we have a good code for the town. It clears a lot of things up, and I want to thank everybody. That's for sure. Especially, I mean, Liz Cassidy has done a lot of work with this, as has Martha. But thank you to everybody for that. And we're going to refer that to the planning board and have that meeting on whatever that date is there, next Monday, right?
I think we'll do a presentation. You and I can do a presentation at the next meeting about all of the changes that are proposed to summarize it. If anyone has any questions, talk to us or anyone that was on the committee, Liz, Martha, Tim here, and Doug was working with us as well. Basically, we have the changes to the C zones going to I zones. So when you look at the whole document, it's really the changes are primarily in that section. The second part is a West Falls overlay, and that's at the end of the document. The third part are changes that Liz made to get everything up to code, no pun intended, with what New York State is requiring. So maybe Liz, then you could present on that at the next meeting as well.
That sounds good. I appreciate all your hard work on that. That is a bear of an undertaking for sure, because details matter, words matter. It's not an easy process.
Yeah, and trust me, we redid code for 5 years, I think, and it's not the sexiest thing you ever want to do.
Apparently you didn't see the committee.
No, we saw it. I went to 2 meetings and it was difficult. So I give you a lot of credit.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Yeah.
We'll refer that. Cyber security insurance, and I have my insurance specialist Kathleen Moffett here. And I'm going to bring her up and please speak into the mic. Could we have your name and address? Oh, just.
So I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Jim and I met with Vanner Insurance, our broker, to discuss the renewal. And one of the big changes was that our current cyber carrier is not going to renew us. So I put out 2 quotes. There's a big price difference in both of them. In the cheaper one, we just have to tighten our belts with the MFA. And Nick and I have been working on that. But I think most of you have this ahead of time. So I was here to see if you have any questions regarding anything.
Our recommendation obviously would be to take the higher deductible and go with the, is it
Lower price.
$10,000 policy instead of the $20,000 policy?
Correct. And to update our policy.
And
tighten up
you're
the
talking
belt.
about, yes, and we have that in the next part.
Correct.
So if you look at the electronic communication policy, which is the next number 8, we took the regular policy at the end, added, I don't know if it's yelled out in yours, but it says remove access to the email system. Will be remote access to the email system will be granted on an as-needed basis as determined by the supervisor's office. Authorized users will be required to set up and utilize multi-factor authentication as an added layer to protection. Authorized users shall protect their login and password and must not and shall share them with anyone else for any reason. So we added that layer of protection into our policy.
So other than additional security protocols, it won't affect our ability to access our email on our devices. Is that correct?
No.
Nick or Kathleen, that's correct. Okay.
That's correct.
As you race against time against the falling microphone.
I know. What is up with that?
In this policy, the new policy would be in effect from when to when?
As soon as we get our ducks in a row and tell them we're going to buy this policy. We had an extension through April 9th. So right now we don't have coverage.
We don't
As of
have
April
coverage,
9th.
okay.
Yes, we did pay for an extension. 3/16 is our renewal for commercial insurance.
This came up pretty fast.
It came up pretty fast. Yeah, they told us pretty
And,
last minute.
I
We let them
think-
know we were not happy with the last minute notice.
I think a lot of this has to do with what's going on in the world today with cybersecurity. And I think we really should have some kind of protection. It's my opinion, but
Yeah, I think it's great that you got that second quote. That first one was just outrageous. It almost would have been better to be self-insured if that was the only quote out there, but.
who knows where it's going to go. Yeah. So you guys good with that then?
Yep.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes.
And next we have the fireworks contract for July 3rd. And it is for, if we go with the show that we had last Labor Day, which was phenomenal, it's $16,000. Which a big majority of it we try to raise in fundraising through the putting it in the paper and so forth. We just felt that the show last year was so great, we probably wouldn't want to go backwards, but that's up to the board. If you want to do something less, we could certainly go back to them. I feel that it's one day a year that we give to our residents, and it's a couple of years that we haven't done anything, and my opinion, I think we should do it. So
I heard a lot of compliments too, Jim, that was the best show that anybody had seen. And so I think we should continue.
Yeah, and as great it was to have an event last on Labor Day, which was our only option, obviously we got squeezed out of. This will truly be our first July 3rd in several years. And I think it's worth sort of making it something a little extra special.
Yeah, I heard a lot of compliments. I had a great time. It's for young people and for people my age, I think it's one of the best times of the year, and I think doing it right.
Young people.
Exactly. And I do appreciate the board last year somehow or another managing to put this together in a really short amount of time, doing an outstanding job. So I think, and it brings in so many people from all of Western New York, and they rave about it. And it's it's another one of those things you can put on as far as East Aurora.
It is. It's one of Shane's favorite events, isn't it, Shane?
It's nothing compared to music.
Well, that's true. That's true.
For a second, I thought I was going to say Ukrainian fundraiser. So I think we can expect more people this year. It's just something to be prepared of. So I don't know if we want to talk to, I mean, after just having this experience, we may be able to find some ways for sponsorship that we haven't had before and to get some more food options there. I don't know. It's usually, is it Dave Thomason is doing a lot of that stuff too, and Kiwanis, and I think we can, if we don't forget that, we can probably try to get a little more so that because we can expect more people.
Yeah.
There was a lot in Labor Day, but with
We
it being on
usually-
July 3rd, it's going to be
We usually have a certain amount, as I recall, I'm going to say it's like 4,000 or 5,000 or somewhere around that rolls over each year. So, and that's been pretty consistent, as I recall,
Yeah.
over the years. But Martha would know better than that. How much, what was our, let's say 5 years ago, what did we spend on the fireworks? Like 12,000, 13,000? So, yeah, 12,000. And we usually have about 5,000 or so that rolls over from one year to the next.
We try to.
We try to.
There is not.
Oh, there's not, because we spent extra money last year. How much do we have in there? Do you know off the top of your head roughly? 2,000. Okay, well, then I like your idea, Lou.
So I think, yeah, I don't know. We can talk about that separately, but
Yeah, we'll think about
nothing may arise of it, but
Is there tradition been a committee about the firework, about 3rd of July, or that's handled entirely, the rec department, I know, does all the planning, and
Yeah.
so they just, if we wanted to provide input, or there would be the place to poke
As
our
far
nose
as the
in.
fundraising or?
Was the event, I mean, we're talking about maybe trying to raise additional funds through sponsorship or something, but this isn't really something the board does so much as the rec department does.
Who is big on that is Dave Thomason.
Yeah.
He's pretty much, isn't he in charge of the fundraising, Martha?
we can, if you
Yeah,
want
I'm
to
just
stop.
going to suggest, Joe, if you want more detail, why don't you give me a call tomorrow and I can kind of
Okay,
spell everything out for you.
that sounds great. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, then we will go right into the regular meeting. And we're going to start with a public hearing on local law intro 2-2022, the senior exemption income limits. And this is, I'll read the public hearing. We'll start this public hearing first of all at 7:09. And the notice for the public hearing was to be held at the town hall on the 11th day of April, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Aurora Municipal Center, 575 Oakwood Avenue, East Aurora, New York, at which hearing parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to hear on the adoption of a local law of the town of Aurora of the year 2022 to amend Chapter 101, the codes of the town of Aurora to increase maximum annual income eligibility for senior citizens to receive a real property tax exemption. So we went over this last meeting, and the rate chart is on page 3. And goes on the percentage of what their maximum income is. So with the event, the property owner's income is less than 37,400, the following percentages of the assessed valuation exemption from taxation shall apply, and then they go through the exemptions. This time, I'd ask anyone interested in speaking on this public hearing to please come up to the mic and probably raise it long higher so you can talk into it. Give us your name and address. Okay, nobody. Then I will close this public hearing at 7:10. And Is there any comments from the board on it? Okay, then we will put that on our unfinished business. Next, we have the approval of minutes, the March 28th, 2022 work session and meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? Did I get that one wrong? Sorry. You guys switched on me. Motion by
Joe.
Joe. And a second by
Chuck.
Chuck. Okay. You're playing musical chairs. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have audience, and this is a chance for anybody in the audience to talk to the board on any items that are on the agenda. If you so wish to do so, please come up to the mic. Nobody? And we'll go right into unfinished business. And the much talked about agreement with the baseball, softball, East Aurora Baseball and Softball Inc. I would look for a motion to adopt a new agreement with these changes that were announced tonight.
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And next, we discussed the special use permit at 426 Olean for the storage facility. Do I have a motion to adopt and approve the special use permit for the 426 Olean Road development?
So moved.
Motion by Chuck.
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And then the local law, we just had the public hearing on. Local law intro 2-2022. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Motion by Joe,
Second.
second by Luke. Any discussion?
Roll call.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Wachensky,
Aye.
Councilman Snyder,
Aye.
Councilman Granville,
Aye.
Councilman McCann,
Aye.
Supervisor Fox.
Aye. And that is passed. Next, we have new business. And I put a thing on your desk. There is one addition. And that is the auction results for equipment that we put on Auctions International for the Highway Department. So do I have a motion to add K Auctions International?
So moved.
Motion by Joe. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have Bridge New York. And these are the resolutions accepting the money from the state to redo both the Church Street Bridge and East Fillmore Bridge. And you guys spared me the time of reading them. So I'll just ask that, first of all, we adopt the, do we have to do this in one motion or two, Martha? One motion, okay. Then I'll make a, I would like a motion to adopt the resolution and project agreement and authorizing the supervisor to sign the project agreement for both Church Street and East Fillmore.
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. Any discussion?
Luke, did they, you had emailed something about changing numbers? Did that get corrected?
It's in the midst, corrected, yeah.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have the request from Dave Gunner to buy some diamond dirt for Nicely and Community Pool Park in the amount of $10,000. So I have a motion.
So
I'll make,
moved.
I'll second.
Luke and Chuck, and this is, I think we decided to take out of our capital project. Okay. Any discussion?
The discussion was, unless I got it wrong, you said up to $10,000 is what you
Yeah,
needed?
no more.
No more than.
No more than 10.
And it's called the TA fund.
The TA fund.
The way it was motioned is that it said 10, so I don't know if it needs to be changed up.
So I will redo the motion to say up to $10,000, not to exceed $10,000. How's that? Right. And we have the seconds. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. All right, next is the work session and meeting start time to amend the reorg to say that our meetings will officially start at 6:30 from now on. We have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Luke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion?
So next week, do we need to set, because we sent out the letters for the public, what do we call it? A public forum, informational meeting? Do we need to take any action on the meeting today to do that? Or do we just?
What
set it on
time
the
did we
agenda?
set the letters up for?
We said 7, I think, in the letter, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to do anything today then. Yeah.
I think
So
you'll be okay.
6:30.
It'll be
okay.
after 7.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Next, the codes that we've been working on. I need a motion to refer the final codes to the planning board.
So moved, and this is on Wednesday, right? That we're referring to Wednesday meeting, or what date is it?
Monday.
Monday, the
18th.
18th.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
And Chuck seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that's carried. And next we have E, which is the cyber insurance. Looking for a motion to approve the purchase of the annual premium for $20,622.21 with Cowbell
No.
Insurance. Wait a minute,
No,
No, other one.
the other one.
what's that?
We're gonna go for the other one, the CFC.
Oh, the 10,000. What am I saying?
Yes.
20,000. I went wrong line. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The quote for the coverage with CFC insurance.
Yeah.
Keeping our limits the same, but does increase the deductible to 10,000 from 5,000. Sorry about that. The annual premium is $10,786.43. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. And then a motion to approve our electronic communication policy amendment.
So moved.
Motion by Luke,
I'll second.
second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have a request from Kathleen Moffett to use the debt reserve fund to make a $40,000 principal and $2,885 interest payment to Greene County Commercial Bank for the Glebe Avenue parking lot bond. The payment is due on 4/15/2022. If you guys are not familiar with that, when we sold Glebe, we had a bond that we did the parking lot. And we couldn't pay that bond off. It was not callable. Therefore, we had to take funds out of the sale of Glebe. We put them aside and we're paying off that bond until it matures, I believe, in 3 years. Kathleen? 3 years. So do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by who said
Joe.
that?
Motion by Joe.
Joe.
I'll second.
Okay, it's second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, and that is carried. Next, we have a request from Elizabeth DeVizio to hire seasonal help. The list is Abby Hall, residing at 870 Chestnut Hill Road, East Aurora, at the hourly rate of $15 an hour. Jonathan Meisenheimer, residing at 96 Shear Avenue, at the hourly rate at $15.50 an hour. John Evans residing at 65 Park Place, East Aurora at the hourly rate of $15 an hour, and Charles Skirkin residing at 1570 Road at the hourly rate of $15 an hour. They all be starting at May or after May 16th. We have a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Jim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion? My only question is why are some getting 15?
Yeah, the gentleman worked for the rec department for 1 year. So traditionally, every year they come back, we give him 50 cents. So that's why he's different.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next is another request from Elizabeth Divisio. And this is from the Glory Days League. Please accept this $1,000 donation from the Glory Days Softball League. The donation will be used to help replenish diamond dirt at West Falls Park. Do I have a motion to accept the donation?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Joe, second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. And number 2 to that is the budget amendment. from Kathleen. She requests that we amend the budget as follows: increase the revenue line A 2705.3 donations for the GDSL, and increase appropriation line A S110.444 parks and landscaping and supplies. So I have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Have a second?
Second.
Thinking by Joe. Any discussion?
So is this the same? Are we putting this $1,000 into the line item from whence we're pulling for diamond dirt? Is that, I know there was some discussion about, are we putting this in the same fund that we're pulling, that we're buying the diamond dirt out of, or does it matter?
You'll just get an extra load or two of diamond dirt, right?
Yeah,
Right, Dave?
yeah, good catch. No, it would be in the parks funding.
Gotcha, but we're pulling out of a different fund. So,
Yeah,
okay.
so I guess we would just get more diamond dirt. I'm not really sure yet how we're gonna do that.
We
That'd be the
can,
best way.
yeah, just use this directly towards it, right? Put this in
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, this project isn't gonna happen till the fall. We paid it now. They actually want to shrink their infield too, so it's gonna take some topsoil work too. So we're gonna wait till the season's over. But I think that it's probably gonna need quite a bit more than the $1,000 that he donated. So
Are their intentions to pay for that infield work that they want shrunk, or is the town gonna
no,
pay for that?
we have tons of topsoil from doing the pickleball court. I got a mountain of it. That's not an issue. It's just waiting until the fields aren't being played on because you're gonna reseed them. So yeah, my intention was to take this $1,000 in the parks budget and then see how it goes. But we are approved for up to 10,000 out of the TA fund. I think normally we would match dollar for dollar, but I think this time they're probably going to do well. I mean, just because I think their project's a little bit bigger. Unless you want to do something different.
I don't know if there's any pitfall to having this go into one account and having the expense come out of a different account. It seems a little screwy, but I mean, it's 6 one, half dozen the other. I don't know.
Don't we typically just when we get donations from baseball, let's just say, don't we typically just put that towards diamond dirt? Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, but I think what
But
Councilman
it's going
McCann's pointing out is we've already approved 10 grand through the
Yes.
TA fund.
Yeah.
So technically now you've approved 11 grand in a sense is what you're kind of saying.
No, well, I'm just saying, I'm not saying we approve more money because it doesn't say what it has to go towards. I'm saying this is going into one budget line item or pulling the actual diamond dirt off a different budget line item. So this $1,000 it doesn't matter, I guess. It's $1,000 either way. Just seems like it ought to go on the same line item as we're paying for.
Well, unless it does matter because the donation was made for diamond dirt. So does that 1,000 actually have to pay for it? I don't, yeah,
Well, can't I just I could take part of it out of
yeah.
the parks landscaping. I could take $1,000 out of it and then do the rest out of the other one. It doesn't really matter. I don't have to take it all out of the same thing. I could split the bill.
Or we could transfer it into TA if that's easier.
Can you transfer into the TA?
That's all right. We'll just pay for a part of it, split the bill and get the 1,000 out of here. So it's,
Be the easiest way.
We're
I
looking
think.
at more than 7 or 8 grand total for the whole project. So. You know, worst case, we're not gonna be near the 10.
Yeah, but it'd just be cleaner if this $1,000 paid for diamond dirt instead of,
So why don't I do that?
Yeah.
I
I think-
Into the TA fund, the $1,000 bucks. Is that what you're
well, no, the
Why
OS,
don't I
the
just
Office of
split
State
the bill?
Controller doesn't like that. So if Liz, if you're
Split the
able to
bill.
pay $1,000 out of this budget item, that would clean it
I
up
can do
nicely,
that.
I
I'll do
think.
that. That would be
Does that
easier.
work for everyone? Liz will explain it to you probably
Dirt is
tomorrow.
dirt, right?
You understand.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. If someone makes a donation for something, they want to see that it goes there. And
To there.
so
Yeah.
it makes everybody in Albany happy too.
because there's a high chance the Glory Day Softball League is going to check our books and make sure which line we used it from.
Stop right on.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good with that. Then we'll go on to the fireworks contract.
Did we didn't, I don't think we voted on that, did we?
We did not.
We are in
vote?
questions.
Oh, that was the question. I'm
stage, yeah.
sorry. We had the motion, we had the question.
So we're
All
just
in
over.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that's carried. Next, we have the pyrotechnic display and services agreement for this July 3rd fireworks display in the amount of $16,000. Do I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign that contract?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Luke. Any discussion?
If you have a quick discussion, this is, it looks generally like just a typical contract. This is essentially outside of the numbers, the same contract that you've signed over the
Yep.
years.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. The boilerplate.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to ask you
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Excellent company to work with, by the way. They're super.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Now we have K, which is the auction international bid results from the highway department. We have the 96 Gradle. Came in at 5,700. The truck toolbox, $10. The gang rollers, $1,125, and the filing cabinets at $11.
A little upset with the truck toolbox, but I think we could have gotten $1 or
Hoping to get
$2 out of there
$15 for
more.
that.
Yeah, I was thinking 15. I don't know,
Barely
All right.
used.
but I guess we'll.
Then we'll have to table this. Start over.
We got $10 more for the cabinet.
I thought we'd get a little more for the Gradle, to be honest. I know. We put a lot of money into that, so it's good to get rid of it.
400,000.
Yep. So I have a motion to approve and accept the auction results. Motion by Jim. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Chuck. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is carried. Next, we have communication reports, and these are the March 20th, 2022 reports for town clerk, tax, senior center, water clerk, dog control, work requisitions, building department, recreation is the February report, recreation March report, and the supervisor's March report. Next, we have business from the board members, and I'll start with Joe.
This week I had my board of managers for the sewers. The county continues to put major money into our sewer infrastructure using the ARPA funds, and they also are rebuilding the long damaged control building at the plant, which is going to free up some space to make it more efficient. They can bring in a new generator and stuff. So our sewer waters should be good for a long time. They're putting a lot of money. I worked there for 4 years. That plant is very old. A lot of things have to sort of be done in a way that they weren't originally intended to be done. So this will be good. Having the control building back. I don't know if you ever noticed, there's a trailer that's been there for 15 years. That's because the village, not to blame anyone, but they had damaged that control room when they're running that plant. So they're bringing that to life, and we can sleep easy knowing that the creek is getting clean water. So that is good. The other thing I did was I spent about 2 hours with Jack O'Quain, and I think that's how you pronounce his name, out at the West Falls Club. And I just want to say I was absolutely blown away with the number of programs that they provide out there. It is from the Junior Olympics archery to making their services available to disabled folks, to running youth camps. It's not a huge plot of land. It's 50 acres, but man, they get every bit they can out of it. So it was 2 hours well spent. And that's what I have.
Jim?
Two things connected. One, I appreciate being able to Zoom a couple of weeks ago for the meeting. I don't have any expectation that I'm going to be doing that again, but I do appreciate it. It's good to get involved, and I was able to get a motion or a second in once or twice during that meeting.
It was a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, exactly.
It was kind of funny.
So the reason I went out there, my brother, his wife and their son live out there. He's the sheriff of the county, and so he gets to show me around and things like that. But one of the benefits was I got to meet people in the recreation department. I got to see it's a city, but I got to see how things ran there, and it was very interesting. And maybe have some ideas. It's very similar to East Aurora, that there's in its history and things like that. The other thing too is that right behind his house, about a mile back, and you can see it from his back lawn, there's a canyon there. There is a federal trail, and there's also a gun club. And I've met with at the conservation club. I've met with the people at Eckert and talked to them. And just a week ago, I met with the president of that club in Los Alamos, and there was some difficulty, but it's federal land behind it, so federal land wins. So, but they came to a compromise, and it ended up being dirt, and it's a good quarter mile of land that they own that has that trail. So Eckert and Conservation Club can do what they see as best, but I'm glad that there's something out there that maybe we can discuss, and if it works for them, great. If it doesn't, it's just a thought. But they were able to do it and do it successfully.
Just the highlights of that, though, Jim, what did they put up a dirt berm or?
It's a dirt berm. That's what it is. Now it looks a little better there because everything's dirt.
Yeah.
Then there's the forest behind it, but yeah, that's what it is. It's like I think it's 20 or 25 feet high. And it fits with the landscape, but that's basically all it is dirt.
Yeah.
And I think they have, sand and targets and things like that, but they're far enough away that it's not going to be any problem. The path goes right behind it. So there's not going to be any debris that comes over and affects them. So it may be a different situation where we are here.
Okay.
But it was nice to see that they were able to work something out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And they're happy with it too. So thank you.
Anything else? Good. Chuck?
Last Saturday, 2 days ago, was the annual Easter egg hunt that the town puts on in conjunction with the East Aurora Kiwanis. And I just want to thank our recreation specialist, Megan Tent. She did an outstanding job, and Kathy Ories and our little Easter bunny, Amy Sullivan. But I mean, I've heard people say that there was at least 400 people there. There was a lot of people. It was very well attended. The kids were laughing and smiling and just having a great time. It turned out to be a pretty decent day, but it was really nice and went off very well. But I wanted to thank specifically Megan because she did a great job organizing it.
Thanks, Chuck. Luke?
Just two things I think moving forward. Number one, it is next Monday that the planning board meeting is. We also have a West Falls meeting. So I will be at the planning board meeting. Joe, are you going to head out to West Falls? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be out there.
Jim, you'll head out there too. And I think Chuck, you may be at the planning board meeting, if anything. Yeah. So just so we have both of those covered. And then for Adam, that we will be doing the community, what do we call it? I can't remember. Community forum, public forum, informational meeting. Yeah. Public informational meeting on the Rails to Trails project. So, and I am going to be taking off here as soon as we end to go to the Conservation Club, Joe and I actually, where we will be speaking with the members about where they are and what their concerns are. So,
okay, thanks. The only thing I have, I was at the State of the County last week at the Bill's Practice House, and the Mark Polenkars said that they're flush with money, so you should be getting some money for that sewer project.
Yeah.
He said that the county's in good shape, so, and that the property taxes are not going up. So we'll see. Okay. Next, we have audience, and this is a chance, an opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the board on any issue whatsoever. You might want to pick that mic up a little bit.
You can pull it out of there, I think, Tim.
Pull it right out, and hold on to it, Tim. Just talk right into it, please.
Good evening.
Just need your name and address. We know your name, but
Good evening. Tim Stroh, 360 Center Street, East Aurora. At the March 14th meeting, Councilman McCann spoke about a kayak launch, possibility of a kayak launch, and there was some follow-up discussion afterward. And March 15th, Joe, I saw your Facebook post that said, I just don't think a spot is going to work. So I just had a couple questions. I wonder if I could be so kind to ask. Can you please provide an update on the status of that?
Sure. As you saw, you probably saw the entire discussion on Facebook. There was, you didn't.
I did not.
Gotcha. There's a great deal of enthusiasm for the idea of having an actual kayak launch in that area. But the points you had made at that meeting are also entirely valid. That is wetland and that is nature land. What has come up since then is the fact that there's a right of way. And this is all exploratory at this point. There's no decisions being made, but the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper have offered to lend their assistance towards the possibility of using the right of way area to build a simple concrete ramp, but it's just in discussion. Nobody knows if it's even feasible yet.
All right. And then just a follow-up question. At what point, acknowledging it's exploratory, preliminary, at what point do you expect you may engage the adjacent property owners would be?
Oh, as soon as there's something concrete, that is number one. Obviously, you don't want to do anything until you know whether or not it's possible, because we're not going to go banging on doors and saying, hey, this might happen. But a matter of fact, in the discussion with the water, obviously, I've never been a part of a project like this. But the first thing that the Buffalo Niagara Waterkeeper said is step one in something like that is to figure out A, what you're going to do, and then B, knock on doors. So if the plan comes to fruition, notifying the neighbors would be the very next step.
So that the notifications would be made in time to be a part of a planning effort?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the idea is a show, right? Because you don't want to be like, nobody knows what they're looking at. You say, hey, we're doing a kayak launch. You're going to have 40 different ideas of what that looks like. So you want to come up with some sort of rendering of what it might look like before you reach that point.
Understood. Thank you. I think I exceeded my time.
I don't think you did, but thank you.
Well, then I have.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Ed?
Make it brief. I know we have to leave. Quick comment. I laud the council for kind of clarifying when the meetings will start, et cetera. But I want to make sure I understand, because pre-pandemic, there was a situation where you guys had a work session, immediately went into the regular meeting, and it was a short meeting, and so therefore it started before 7. So I missed some of it. So if I understand it right, the work session will be always at 7:30 unless there's an exception.
6:30.
6:30, unless there's an exception for a big event.
Right.
And then 7 p.m. we'll start the regular meeting.
After the work session, there won't be an exact time for the next meeting. Whenever the work session ends, it could end at 7:30, then the meeting won't start till 7:30.
Okay, but if it ends at 6:45, would you start the meeting or wait until 7 is my question.
We would, unless there's a public hearing, we would continue the meeting.
Okay.
So everything's going to start at 6:30, no matter what.
And it will roll right into the board meeting right afterwards, as Jim says, unless it's a public hearing. And that will probably just get shifted around and still roll into the board meeting.
Okay, I guess.
There's gonna be one start date and time, and it's gonna be
Well, I would
6:30.
ask
Yep.
Consideration to start the regular meeting no earlier than 7 if you're going to do that.
That usually happens. We have a councilman that like to talk a lot. We can make up a half hour a lot of times. yeah.
Okay,
I don't want to point any fingers.
thank you very much.
So Rod, so
Yes.
6, it wouldn't work if you just got here at 6:30? I mean, would that be an inconvenience, you think?
Well, I'm just saying, some of the public don't want to be there for the work session, but they want to be there for the meeting.
We could always take if it's close, we could take a 10-minute break. You know, I mean, but we don't want to advertise that. We're going to start the meetings at 6:30
Okay.
because because we're just confusing a lot of people. People have been waiting out in the park lots thinking they're starting at 5:30. It's in the paper and may start at 5:30. And it's just, you know what, we got into that habit during COVID. And I think we just need to now come out of it and say, okay, here's the start date or time, and that's it. That's where we're.
Got it.
So
Thank
people
you.
are getting confused. Thanks. Anybody else? Anybody? And we'll go into staff reports, and I'll start with Liz.
So for those of you, as you begin to read through the code enforcement program, that'll replace chapter 65 in the town code book. All of the points covered in this proposed chapter 65 are also what came from the existing code book. If you have any questions on that as you're reading through it, just give my office a call or call me on my cell. I'm happy to talk you through it. There's also an additional provision to eliminate chapter 40 something. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but those codes there are 4 items in that chapter. I think it's 44. There are 4 items in that chapter. One is covered under the ODA section, subdivision section. One is covered under zoning currently, and there are 2 other items on there which are about driveway culverts. Well, one is about address, but that's in zoning. And there is another part about driveway culverts, and I have moved that into the chapter 116. So with that, you could eliminate chapter 44. But if you have any questions on those as you're beginning to read through those codes, give me a call. And the other thing is that Paul is completely certified by the state now. He has completed his code enforcement program successfully. The past few weeks, he's been out and about in town, meeting a lot of our business owners, completing the annual fire inspections for the town. And once he finishes through that list, he'll start on the village. Jim Kittner is on his 4th class, so he's got 2 more to go. And he's working his way through those and spending a lot of time really reading the code books. But that's where we're at right now.
Great.
Hey, Liz, were these changes sent out already? Were those something we received via email or?
The codes,
Yeah, the codes.
those are within that huge packet that's going to the planning board
Okay,
for
gotcha.
next week.
Okay.
So one of those is all about chapter 65 that isn't zoning at all, but will need to be updated.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. Shane?
Just one thing, we've been working on trying to upgrade our police radio system for the department. We're working with State Communications, who we buy our radios from and have them serviced. They came up with a fantastic deal to replace our dispatch consoles, our mobile radios, and our portable radios. And then I was looking for financing for it, and County Legislator Joe Rico was gracious enough to come up with $44,000 for me, which will cover the total cost of the radios, 2 AEDs, and some training aids for our dispatchers. So
Awesome. Wow.
we're
Very
doing
good. Excellent. Tim? Paul? Rod? Kathleen?
I do. Our financial audit is wrapping up. Jim and I should have an exit interview, I would guess, within the next 2 weeks. And I'm thinking they'll probably be ready to present in May.
Perfect. Adam? Nothing? He's a library board.
Yeah.
Do you still have the birdhouse sale? Is that still going on? Or the birdhouse where you put you can buy tickets to it or something? Yeah, is it? Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I just got the details from the budget that was just passed over the weekend. Governor Hochul came up with a new CHIPS fund called Pave Our Potholes. It amounts to about a 14% increase in our funding for CHIPS, so about $17,000. So you got some good news there. And then on top of that, they doubled the Bridge New York grant money for next year. So I was talking to Jim about that. We're going to really look at some of the town culverts as well as more of the village bridges for that too. There's a lot of funding coming out, so we're going to try to go after that this summer. So, okay, good.
How do we qualify? Our roads don't have any potholes.
Spend it.
Yeah.
Make them.
Yeah, we now have Extreme Winter Recovery Fund. We have Pave New York Fund. We have
It's an election
CHIPS.
year.
It's all just new names, but it all, ask Liz, it's all the same paperwork. It's all CHIPS. They're just a new name for the election year.
Yeah, it's election.
There
year.
you go.
All right, motion to approve the abstract.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Chuck,
Second.
second by Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Who said that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's